Welcome to ERC Tipsnology. In this video, we will be learning about how to read an analog meter, particularly the voltmeter and the ammeter. This is an example of an analog voltmeter and ammeter. You will see here the scale with big lines, and I'm pointing here at number 4. This is called primary division. So the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 are called primary division. Even the line here without the number, as long as it has big lines or a big line, then that's a primary division. And then we also have what we call as the small lines or the shorter lines, and these are called secondary division. As you can see, between the numbers 0 and 2, there's a longer line here, which is the primary division, and there's also shorter lines here, which represents the secondary division. In this analog meter, we can see that there's a number 30 at the top scale. So at the top scale, you will see 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And this 0 to 30 scale is found at the top. Now at the top, you will also see the secondary division, which is representing 0.5 for each. Therefore, the small lines at the top of the scale represents the 0.5 value, and the big lines here represents 2.5. Therefore, this big lines or long line here is 2.5. This is 5. This one is 7.5, 10. This one without any number is 12.5. This is of course 15. This is 17.5, this is 20, this is 22.5, this is 25, this is 27.5, and this is 30. Therefore, each of the long lines at the top of the scale represents the primary division, which has a value of 2.5 each. Now, at the bottom scale, you will see the numbers 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. These numbers represents the primary division, and each of these long lines is representing a value of 1. Therefore, this long line here at the bottom is 1, this is 2, next is 3, this is 4, this long line here is 5. This is number 6. This is 7. This is 8. This one is 9. And the last one will be 10. Now, you can see here I wrote that 0.2 each for secondary division. Therefore, the small lines here at the bottom represents 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and then 1, followed by 1.2, 1.4, and so on. Therefore, each of these lines, small lines, which is called secondary division, represents 0.2 each. Now let's move on to the body of this analog meter. On the left side, you will see here the voltmeter, and this can measure DC volts. It has the red part here, which is representing the positive, and we also have the black part, which is the negative. This is where we put the banana jack or the wires or terminals that will be connected to our circuit. So just remember the red color, we will be using positive, and the black color here will be representing negative or minus. And here you will see the numbers 3, 3 volt, 10 volt, 30 volts, I mean 3 volts, 10 volts, 30 volts, 100 volts, and 300 volts. These numbers represents the maximum voltage that we can measure using our analog voltmeter. Therefore, if you are in the 30 volts selection, then you can only measure up to a limit of 30 volts. Right now, you will see here a line pointed to 3 volts. Therefore, we can only measure up to 3 volts. If you put it to 300 V, you can measure up to 300 volts of voltage. Now, on the right side, you will see the ammeter or that can measure the DC current. And there is a selection here where you can choose between 3 amperes, 1 ampere, zero point 0.1 ampere, 10 milliampere. I think there's a mistake here. This should be a small letter. This is not really mega. So just take note that this 10 mA here is representing 10 milliamperes only, not mega. And then we have 1 milliampere here and another 1.1 milliamperes. Now, on the right side of these numbers, we have 1 ampere, which is also equivalent or equal to 1000 milliamperes. Therefore, you can either use 1A or 1 ampere in your conversion of the values, or you can think of it as 1000 milliamperes. For zero point 0.1 ampere, it's also equal to 100 milliamperes. 10 milliamperes is also equal. Of course, we will be using 10 milliamperes. This is the basic one. And then we have 1 milliampere, which is also equal to 1000 microamperes. We can also use zero point 0.1 milliampere, which is also 100 microamperes. Don't worry, as we go along with this video tutorial, you will be seeing more examples for this. Now, at the bottom of this ammeter selection values, we have the positive again, we have the red color, and the negative side, which is black color. That's it. These are the parts of the analog voltmeter on the left side and the analog ammeter on the right side. Remember that the scales here are two. We have 0 to 30 scale, and we also have 0 to 10 scale. Now, these scales may be used or can be used by the voltmeter, and it can also be used by the ammeter. It depends on which position did you do for your button here. If you push this button out like here, then you will be using the voltmeter. If you push this button in, then you will be using the ammeter. Right now, this is pushed in, therefore, it will function as an ammeter. Again, ammeter came from the words ampere meter. So in short, it measures the ampere or the current, ammeter or ampere meter. And this one is obviously it's voltmeter.